Hello, 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 and welcome to the No Faces Comic Chat. I'm your host, Bub, and with me, as always, the one, the only, they went to the well and the well ran dry, Metarog.
Hey, Bub. Hey, Chat and Jambo. Great to be here. I guess, even though I'm a dry well, I'm still trying. So maybe that's something.
Well, you do the best you can. And with us from time to time, and with us this time, Jambo Comics.
Hey guys, glad to be back on the No Faces Chat, the one show where I always look my best.
Welcome. We're so glad to see you. Bunny ears. So DS won't be able to make it tonight. He got accosted by some Walmart parking lot security police while roving pantsless through the parking lot looking for spare change. Look, we're doing all we can with this fella. We're going to have a GoFundMe for this guy, not for pants because he refuses to wear them, but just for an ongoing bail cachet. Good idea, isn't it?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. They tire of him and his antics at Walmart. I tell you, they're just lost patience.
Hey, I don't blame them. All right, and joining us all the way from Las Cruces, New Mexico, we have Las Cruces 1971. Woohoo! Saying hello and woohoo. We have Unruly Simeon in the house, flinging poo, I'm sure. Christina Payne is here, ducking all those hot tamales. We got Graphic Man is in the house. Welcome. Be sure to catch his fine program on Wednesday evenings called the 4-Color Fossils. They tried to get 5 colors, but they ran out. The old Crayola box is only got 4 colors in it. So, and then we've got look at this Unruly Simeon. I don't know if I understand that. Roger, what is he saying?
I think he wants jigglage.
Jigglage? What's a jigglage?
Jigglage.
Oh,
well, okay. Things that undulate.
I just said jigglage to StreamYard, and this is what popped up. Oh my gosh. Early jigglage.
There you go. That's jigglage.
There you go. Congratulations. Thank you, Unruly Simeon. You're a kind man, a prince among men, if I do say so myself. And we get fussed at for not showing old new Wendy. But there's not much jigglage. Her hair moves a lot. That's about it. All right. And let's see who we got here. Let's see. Las Cruces, Metarog, and Morris is here on behalf of the group and myself. I hope we pass the audition. Thank you. Yes, I'm sure you did. Audition for what? To get on this show? Welcome. You've made it to the show. Mark the Cutty Sark is here. For those of you who don't know, that is not a shark. It's not a mammal type fish or anything like that. It's a boat. It's a boat for those of you. The Cutty Sark. All right. That's all for you guys. From Heroes to Icons here as well. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. Let's hop right in. We are going to be discussing. Oh, wait a minute. Don't we have something for that? Let's see. Let's see. I don't have it there. All right, can't find it. All right, hot topic for the evening. Anybody have anything that they would like to discuss or anything pertinent to comic their stuff going on? Not all at once.
What do you mean?
Things coming up?
Well, I mean, it's been a fairly quiet week for comics. I can't think of anything really happening major this week. It's been quite quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty quiet.
All right. Well, that was great.
So.
Topic section.
There's a lot of international news going on. So,
yeah, it's not real comic related, I don't think. Well. Yeah. All right. Such is life.
On, so.
There's a con coming up pretty soon.
There are multiple cons coming. Tell us about this con coming up soon that you're excited about there, Jambo.
Well, other than BUB'Con 2022, there's going to be a con in Lexington, Kentucky here in 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
something like that.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
3 weeks. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Saving the pennies.
Are you? I'm not.
I might be out in the parking lot somewhere with digging coins and stuff.
Careful. If you know DS is out there, just don't reach in the dark. He's not wearing any pants.
Yeah, man. Watch out for a guy without pants. That's DS. Move. Run.
You know, that should be an ongoing concern. Just anytime you're groping around in the dark, be wary of people not wearing pants. That's just good advice. Jambo and I, we're going to a convention here in a few weeks, and also Roger and I are taking a little trip ski, aren't we?
Nice.
No, yes, we are. Yeah, a week from. I'll see you a week from Thursday, I guess.
Yes, I already told them at work that I'm not feeling well. And I feel like I have a
10-day advance
128-hour bug that could come to full steam somewhere around Friday after next. So let's see. We just don't know.
If you're considering me the virus there, I guess that would work.
They're already lighting candles for me at work. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so what's going on there is Roger and I are taking a little road trip, and we're gonna go up north, northern Ohio. So we've got that coming up in 2 weeks. My docket is full. Huh?
You've been quite the traveling man lately.
I have been. I am exhausted. I've been in the last week. I've been on 5 flights, and I've been in 2 different U-Haul moving trucks.
Went to Vegas and managed to come back with your pants. So hey, you did all right.
I did. I was shirtless, but that made getting through airport security a little easier. So
time saver.
So look, Graphic Man says beware of Roger, but I have to say this, and I'll just put this out there because knowing the guy we're going to talk about, it'll probably get back around to Roger anyway. So hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Hey, is that Brett Bottomley's new thing?
That is Brett Bottomley. Yes, that
Dalesman Comics. That's Brett Bottomley, right? Is it?
That is correct.
Okay, it is. All right. Well, if that Dalesman guy is a good thing, because I owe that Brett Bottomley guy $20. I don't know that Dalesman Comics guy nothing.
He found
a close one. Another close one. What's going on, Sean? All right. So I had a phone call. I got a call, and one of the days I was in a moving truck, actually. I got a call from our good buddy, friend of the show, Deadpool 2323. Everybody knows him down. I think he's in Ocala area, isn't he, Roger?
He's actually in Newport Richie.
That's what I said. So he called me. He called me up from old Newport Beach or whatever. Oh, is it? Well, he called me up, and as usual, he did his usual. He talked for about 15 minutes, and as soon as I had something to say, he had to go. But right. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's true. So right at the last minute, I said, wait a minute, before you jump off here. Actually, I had to go. I was going to eat dinner. I said, wait, before you hop off here, I got a question to ask you. And I reminded him I was going to be taking this trip with Roger in a few weeks. And I said, I only got one question for you. He said, what's that? I said, what's he smell like? I said, because I tell you, I've seen this guy multiple times, sometimes early in the morning, sometimes late at night. And I'm just wondering, you don't know about these comic people. Have either of you guys ever been to a comic convention and or comic shop and or flea market or a yard sale or anything and been right up between two guys who just have thrown hygiene to the wind? It's all about the comic scent. Have you guys ever experienced that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you, Roger?
Yes. I live in Florida during the summer. During the summer, when you go to shops, and sometimes they don't have very good air conditioning, or and if you go to garage sales or flea markets, it can get the bouquet can get very stinky.
Mm-hmm.
pungent.
Well, I asked him that. Of course, he started laughing. I said, "No, really." I said, "I'll be stuck in a car with this guy for like 6 hours. I gotta know." And he said, "No." He said, "Roger has a very he almost smells of Old Spice." He said he might use Old Spice. I'm not sure, but it's actually a quite pleasant scent Roger has. I said, "That is great news." I was very excited to hear that. So then he got mad at himself
I'm excited.
and said he should have lied. So
I got stuck in a van.
I'm
with
excited
my
he
boss.
remembers. It's been about 3 years since we hunted together, so I'm honored.
are you saying things in your hygiene may have changed, Roger?
Oh, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying I'm honored that he remembers that much detail about me. You know, that's all.
All right, well, good deal.
I had
So I was
going
going to tell you, man, I got stuck in a van with my boss.
I didn't scatter the kids, so.
Well, good deal. What's that, Jambo?
I got stuck in a van with my boss for about 14 hours
Oh my
on
gosh.
the road. And every place we stopped for gas, he was grabbing beef jerky and pickled eggs. If that tells you
Oh my god!
what kind of trip I had, man.
Oh no!
Yes.
Wow.
That's horrific.
Yes, it was horrific.
Oh my gosh!
Every tear.
Ooh, and that was your boss. You can't really
Jerky.
complain, man.
14 hours.
Oh, man. Ooh, no.
Yeah.
I lived to tell the tale.
You know,
We're glad you can make it.
I figure Bub will throw me out of the car if I don't behave, so I better smell good.
Oh no, I'll be good to you. I might open the windows though. He might get cold driving down the road in mid-March.
Yeah. I have a coat. I have a coat, no problem.
So we're excited. Everyone here is. I got a big almost within a week of conventions coming up. So I'm real excited about that.
Nice.
And then I somewhere around the last week of March, I just get to rest for about a week or so, and then I'm headed down south to Knoxville to have even more fun in April. So it's gonna be so busy, but fun stuff. All right. So what do we got? Does anyone remember the team name for this evening? Anybody? Nobody?
The 4-H fossils.
There we go. That is incorrect. That was Metarog with the incorrect answer. What do you got there, Jambo?
The multi-age maniacs.
Ooh, I'm gonna write that down.
Ooh.
That'd be good for,
I like
that's
that
good for
one.
another one.
So I got it right.
Can you change
What do I
the
win?
title of
Yeah,
whatever you put in
I'll
there?
change the thumbnail. I'll change it all, Roger. Don't worry. You
What do
just
I
sit
win?
back and relax. I got this. No, we are the crap. Artifacts.
Even he doesn't remember.
The articulate artifacts? That doesn't make sense. The ageless,
No.
the ageless artifacts. That's who we be.
I was so
Them-
close.
You were close. I have to. Well, I don't have to, so I won't. But yes, the ageless artifacts, and the topic of this evening, convoluted and confusing as it may be, was brought to us by the letter M for Metarog. So, Roger, why don't you tell us what our topic is this evening?
Right. Well, I was just thinking that for whatever reason, I get these kinds of strange notions in my head every once in a while. I'm not going to don't say anything, Bub. Don't say anything. All right. But when Bub asked me, "Hey, do you got any ideas?" I was just thinking, and I was looking at my different boxes of comics that I have for different eras. And so I was like, wow, there's so many distinct differences between the Golden Age, and you can make a distinction between Golden and Atom Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and Copper Age. So I said, why don't we talk about what our opinion is about those distinctions and what brought them about? So that's the topic.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Jambo go first. No, we'll let Roger go. Roger, go ahead and tell us something. I don't know. Tell us whatever you want to tell us, and then we'll find our way through that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I got 4 piles of comics, right? One for each age I just mentioned. So I can go through each age, and then you guys can follow. You want me to go through half, whatever, right?
Yes.
So, yes, that wasn't a yes or no question. Anyway, so Golden Age, to me, is based on many factors, right? I mean, first of all, we're talking about World War II, which a lot of there were already rumblings in the late 30s, etc. And full-fledged war was in the early 40s, right? But that was a topic that was used in the Golden Age because it was current events at the time. So you got a lot of war comics that you really didn't have that much before, right? So like here's Wings, and you see obviously these missiles and these planes and explosions, et cetera, et cetera. And then a lot of it was also based upon the media at the time, radio, for example, because TVs weren't really popular until the 50s, I do believe. So I wasn't around even then, by the way. But for example, Tarzan was a radio show. The Shadow, right? The Spider, things like that showed that there was a tie-in to media. Now today we have when the movie comes out, the comic goes up in price, but back then it was, well, if the radio show is popular, then the comic could be popular. So let's make a comic about it. And I have, for example, over here, and it even tells you on here, it's based on the Mutual Broadcast Network, of Mysterious Traveler. So that was a radio show, apparently. I don't know that for a fact because I wasn't around back then. And then a lot of them were also based upon the strips, the newspaper strips. The comic book was actually a compilation of newspaper strips initially. That's why it was comic book, but all back together. So you had like Nancy and Sluggo, for example. And then you had, again, literature, which was interpreted into comic books. This here is like Bub has been here for the last 2 months, around the world in 80 days,
That's true.
A great movie, and of course, a great book by Vern here.
Are you talking about the Jackie Chan?
And here again,
movie?
we have more of the serial. No, get out of here.
It wasn't bad.
The serials. Buck Rogers was another radio show that would translate into the Golden Age, and then again, now later on, the Golden Age is really, to me, pre-code. Right after that, it's still in the 50s, but now we're transitioning because of, we're not going to get into all the specifics, but because of Wortham and the Comics Code Authority, now you're talking about television, right? And a lot of those popular themes that were in television, like Westerns, for example. Here we have Black Rider. And then again, we have now Korean War or themes, like here in Battle. Again, these are all things that were in the newspaper and popular culture and media, and were translated into comics in the Golden Age. Okay, so that's sort of my Golden Age. Of course, superheroes did start in the Golden Age too, but I figured you guys will talk about that, so I didn't go into too much detail into that.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'll just chime in. I've got a bunch of books. I don't feel like dragging it out tonight. So I might. Let's see what I can reach. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there's something handy. Hold on. Oh, handy Andy strikes again. Oh, okay. So I had this book out already. A lot of people will call this Atomic Age. Anything pre-code is kind of a mix for me. But to me, that the Golden Age and the Atomic Age are mostly characterized by books that are delving into adventure and adventure by locale. So a lot of it is, of course, there's a comic strip reprints, as Roger mentioned too. But to me, the pure comic, the new art, the new stories, things of that nature, you had locale. So you had daring adventures in the jungle, as he showed. You have daring adventures in space. You have daring adventures of the sea. You have, daring adventures out west. All the places that a young boy could grow up and presumably make their grand adventure in these locales. And these were supposed to excite you into that future maybe, or excite you into these fantastic stories of the out there over there premise, right? And I think that the Golden Age has a lot of that, and of course Atomic Age as well, with sci-fi stuff. So a lot of that is just not a fantasized version of exotic locations and situations. So, and I think that is really what characterizes the Golden and Atomic Age for me. So, and you'll see the difference when we get into Silver Age, that is far less the idea. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that's what I go by. Jambo, what do you got?
Well, I've dug back and I found some Platinum Age stuff, because I was thinking, start back in the Platinum Age. I mean, back then they were basing books on, like Roger said, comic strips and pulp magazines and different, like, novels and stuff like that. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Jules Verne, stuff like that. And I mean, there was a few heroes that made it to comics from books and pulps and stuff. Tarzan.
What year is that from there, Jambo? Do you know?
36, I believe. And that one's, I think, 37. So
that kind of reminds me of the Alf cover.
he does kind of have him in a bind.
Everything
there,
reminds me of the Alf cover.
You can see the apes kind of fending him off there a little bit. So, but he's got a knife to him. So, hey. Anyway, and when we went to the Golden Age, like Roger was saying, I mean, a lot of the heroes were taken from radio shows and stuff. Bobby Benson's B-Bar-B Riders was a radio show.
I always wonder where they came up with that terrible name.
Yeah, it's not real off the tongue catchy.
Nope.
That's for sure. And then this guy had a radio show. Yeah.
The Green Hornet.
But what I love most about the Golden Age was it gave us a different genre of characters and stuff, like Good Girl art and Torchy. And I think that was strictly from, like, GIs and Eye Candy and stuff from the war days. And a little bit more. And I found a Black Rider also, Roger.
Nice.
Which, yeah, like you said, later on in, like, the early 50s and stuff, the Western genre was taken off because of TV and movies and things. So it got pretty popular. So it made it to comic books also. And they were selling pretty good, I guess, for a while.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Lovely.
Very hot.
So,
all right. You good?
Yeah, let somebody else go.
Well, I was just going to mention, speaking of that, I'm trying to find something of this I can show. Things get difficult over in Bub's world. But I don't know if Jackson Roy Kirk, I don't think he's made it into the feed. But I know he's a big fan of some of the oh man, I can't show any of this. Oh, here's some stuff I can show. All right. So here's some newspaper strips. This one's from technically this one's from 1974. So I guess we're getting out of the realm here, but I'll show it later. Yeah, I'll show it later. All right, next. Go ahead, Roger. What's next? Hey, what's going on? Captain Comics is here as well. Good to see everybody. And I think our chemist is here as well. So thank you all. All right, go on.
Okay. Well, after the Comics Code, now, loosely we'll say that's the Silver Age, right after 56, where we had, Captain Flash, we had the Flash, which was sort of after that, but then we had Martian Manhunter. Those are, because remember that superheroes kind of fell out of favor after the war was over. You still had Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, but Marvel, pretty much all their superheroes went away, and a lot of the faucet folded, etc. So Shazam now, I guess. So so that went away, but now in the early 60s, they sort of are coming back into popular culture. But beyond that, you had the expansion, right, of the DC and Marvel. They were really the kings of the Silver Age, right? Because although you had Charlton and you had Harvey, et cetera, but as far as the ones that were really trailblazing, I would call them the two, right? So here you have, for example, Tales of the Unexpected. We have anthologies, science fiction anthologies, sort of a carryover from the Atom Age, but now with some superhero twists. Like you have the Space Ranger. Okay, here you have Ultra, the multi-alien. All right, again, the Silver Age also is known for having some really quirky and kind of goofy stories and premises, right? But
it's very much
this is
so
one
on
where
that
actually 4 aliens. Yeah, very much so. 4 aliens attack this guy, and he becomes an amalgamation of those 4. So, but I love that stuff, right? But here you have now the superheroes really dominating and starting to come into their own. Obviously, Marvel started their age in 1961, and they brought in a whole plethora of heroes that were not really there before. Captain America was, but most of them were not. They were, just brand new, if not brand new concepts, brand new heroes. Here, for example, a god, Mighty Thor. I think that's the first Sith, by the way. And then you have this is actually Atom Age, but again, the continuation, because the Westerns were still popular in the Silver Age, but they were more in the Marvel and DC genre. The other genres kind of started to disappear, although Charlton still had some. Okay, goofiness.
If you show that Captain Marvel comic one more time on the No Faces comic chat, it's going to get permanently banned.
Well, listen, you show your Planet comics and you show that Alf comic, and you show the Cave Woman every other show. So why not?
Yeah. You know why? You know why?
Yeah.
Here, let me show you how that happens. Look at this. BUB'S World. Here on StreamYard. All right, go ahead.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, so again, a lot of other publishers tried to sort of hone in on the the bounty that was superheroes, but this one here, it was such a ripoff, but very goofy, and that was kind of part of what was going on, right? I mean, you had like the Batman, the 1966 show, very campy, right? But very popular. After it went off the air, the Batman comics exploded, right? And again, you had a lot now. The TV shows adaptations, not just inspiring the genre, but the actual adaptations, right? Of shows like Thriller, which later Boris Karloff, a big horror giant in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then you had, of course, Star Trek, which was, again, not that popular when it was going on, right? But later on, it definitely got a lot of steam, and including comics. These are actually Bronze Age versions, but because I didn't have the older ones. But again, there's a lot of.
I see. Everybody's trying to sneak the Bronze Age in on this.
The reruns kept Star Trek going.
A plethora of titles that were just adaptations from shows, from movies, etc. And that was another thrust of the Silver Age. So that's it for me. I'll let you guys take over and give some other aspects.
All right, Jambo, what do you have to say about that? Well, you're only up to the Golden Age after going to the Platinum. Well, I guess some. What are you up to the Silver Age?
Silver Age. All right. Well, I didn't dig too many Silver Age out, so I'm gonna apologize for that offhand. But yeah, I mean, the Silver Age to me was just like a whole new beginning for the heroes, and I think, like Roger was saying, DC especially had a lot of goofy stuff going on during the early Silver Age, which I find really cool these days. But when Marvel came along and they started doing things the Marvel way, I mean, it was just game on. This is like one of my favorite heroes here, Thor. So, I mean, yeah, they were doing it right. They were doing it the right way. And in the later Silver Age is when I first started getting into comics. And I guess I always gravitate toward those stories because I just love them so much. But it was mostly, for me, the superhero stuff. But even though there was, like Roger said, a lot of stuff taken from movies and also TV shows and things like that at the time. Let me see. I think I've actually got a TV show. So,
the Green Hornet.
Again. So, yeah, Batman was king on TV back there in the day, the mid 60s. So they did a spinoff, and that was the Green Hornet. And it was pretty cool because it had Bruce Lee. So he was like the thing in the show, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Green Hornet was usually just back, kind of hanging in the background, and Kato was doing all the fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kato was the front line guy.
That's fun stuff. I like the TV show ones. I have a small collection of those myself. I enjoy those. About the only photo covers I'll allow in the collection. We talked about this 3 weeks ago. Are some of the TV show ones. I like those.
And your Rifleman.
Yes, I won't show it tonight. Roger will get mad. But in honor of me not showing that tonight, are you good, Jambo? Are you done?
I'm good, man. Go ahead.
You got a curtsy or something when you're done. So in honor of me not showing the Rifleman, I'm going to ask that Roger go ahead and pull all his E-Man out of whatever age he's going to show that for. I know it's coming.
No E-Man. No E-Man tonight.
All right. And for heaven's sake, no more of that human fly stuff for the bronze. All right. So Silver Age, let's see. I probably grabbed something Silver Age. Surely I've been picking up a lot of Silver Age lately. A lot of well, I guess technically this is Silver Age. Look, I just can't stop showing my wood off. So here's some more. Dynamo number 1. That should be somewhere around 65, 66.
That's a great series.
25 center, so it should be Tower Action Series. No, you gotta like that. Well, you don't have to, but it helps. So a lot of superheroes, a lot of fun stuff there. DC, man, I have a ton of DC silver now. Go-Go checks, that's DC, that's silver, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's some Go-Go checks.
Nice
go. True first here, which you don't get much of in the Silver Age of DC. You don't get a lot of true first appearances. You get a lot of, at least not in the Batman title, you get a lot of, first appearance in the Silver Age kind of stuff for DC.
Right.
So a lot of the golden, even the flat, right? I mean, you name them all. Flash, Catwoman, Riddler. A lot of them end up getting this, second birth in the Silver Age. Yeah. But Poison Ivy, that's an original Silver Age creation. So that's neat.
Right. Does it have the pinup?
You mean, here's my problem with that pinup. You've seen the pinup, haven't you?
Yeah.
That would be a no, Jambo. That would be a no.
So, for those of you who don't know, the pinup is of Batman and Robin, not Poison Ivy. So it's not like you're getting some grand. This is the best picture of Poison Ivy you get in the whole comic, really. And even the that always reminds me of Peter Pan. To me, it looks like Peter Pan's outfit in the back, doesn't it? Look at that feather in the hair. So it's not the pinup in there. It's garbage. I'm telling you, it's terrible. It's ugly, and it's a Batman and Robin holding hands or something, sharing a milkshake, a la Betty and Veronica and Archie. It's pretty much what you get. So if yours doesn't come with that, don't worry about it. You're not missing nothing.
If it was in there, Jambo, it would be the most beautiful poster that mankind has ever seen, but since it's not,
Is that how it works, Roger?
Flash is mostly new
listen,
villains.
I've been doing this show
Oh.
for like three plus years with this guy. Trust me, I know him.
Yeah. Brett, I was talking about the actual Flash, not the villains. The actual Flash was of course, a new Flash for the Silver Age, which some people consider marks the Silver Age. It depends. We're not going to get into that tonight. We've debated it before. What actually creates the transition between, some people go by publication changes, some people go by subject matter changes. So we're not going to, or specific characters or books. So we're not going to get into that, or print runs, all kinds of stuff. All right. So where are we up? We're up to bronze already? Look at us steamrolling right through this Metarog. What do you got? Ooh, Deathlock, you say?
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Bronze Age, that's my baby. I started collecting really in 73, but in earnest in 74. So what I noticed, obviously I didn't know it at the time, but what I noticed is that in the Bronze Age, there were maybe the most drastic changes from era to era, because we had a lot more darker themes in the Bronze Age. Like Deathlock, essentially he is a killing machine, and during the series you see lots of death. I mean, not graphically, but certainly you see the before and the aftermath, right? And like that, we had a lot of this, by the way, one of the first comics I ever bought right here, Astonishing Tales 26. Nice. You saw kind of like the death of certain genres, like the Westerns. They died out in the mid 70s, and they were reprints at that point anyway. So popular during the Golden Age, or started very popular during the Silver Age, but now, again, there weren't that many Western TV shows. They were kind of like gone by the wayside. Same thing with war. Now we're past the Vietnam War, in the middle of the 70s, and that genre. You had Sergeant Fury, you did have our Army at War, Sergeant Rock still going on, but those were the exceptions. Generally speaking, those were gone by the wayside. But what you did have, and I know Bub is going to talk about this, is the relaxing of the comics code. So now you have the more horror elements, the monsters coming into play because they're now allowed, right? So you have Dracula and his daughter. You have werewolves. You have toothy octopus. Whatever. You have all kinds of genre. You have all kinds of characters that normally would be considered too scary or too for kids, and now obviously, since in the 70s you had that on TV as well, they figure, well, why not in the comics, right? Then you had you had Sword and Sorcery, which was kind of not really, you had the jungle themes, but you didn't really have too much of the sword and sorcery stuff until the Bronze Age. And of course Conan, and came from way back in the 30s, but he didn't he had pulps, I believe, but he didn't have or pulp-ish stuff, but he didn't have comics until Conan #1. That was hack and slash.
Ooh, I need that one. Dang it.
Womanizing. Not this particular one, so you're not getting that one.
I need that one.
And then you had also the anti-hero sort of crop up more in the Bronze Age. Punisher being perhaps the quintessential one. Maybe you can say Wolverine, Bub. I don't know what you consider, if you consider him an anti-hero.
I don't think so much in the beginning.
No, not in the beginning. But you had the morally ambiguous characters, shall we say.
Yeah.
And again, you had a lot of more continuity also in the Bronze Age. DC had it and Marvel had it in the Silver Age to some degree, but now the editing was much tighter. And what happened in one title reflected what happened in any other title in that universe, especially in the Marvel universe. So I thought that was sort of a big shift from the Silver Age, which was mostly single issue arcs. There were some multiple issue arcs, but in the Bronze Age, you started to have much more longer, almost novel-like arcs, like in Jungle Action, for example. So, that's my take on the Bronze Age. There's a lot of meat left on the bone, so I'm interested to see what you guys say about it.
Thank you, Roger.
Nice book.
So for
Roger.
me, one of the things that characterizes the Bronze Age are, as Roger already pointed out, new characters, different levels of not, straight-laced Boy Scout type characters, but now you're allowed to be a little bit, like he said, morally, at least shifting in some cases. They didn't all start out rough, but they were allowed to move. But what I like are the teams that start appearing. And there's tons of teams that pop up. Now, you had some DC teams in the Silver Age, and you had some Marvel teams in the Silver Age, but the idea that there were going to be these revamping and it's like they took all the characters and they just shook them up and spit them out. And you end up with just all these great new teams. You got the X-Men turned into the new X-Men. You got champions, nice conglomerated team of all kinds of weirdos. You had all the, of course, you ended up with the more mystical characters, like Roger had alluded to as well. So you had all these kinds of, I don't know, Roger, can we say the occult? I mean, is that fair to say that it was a delve into the occult?
Are talking about Son of Satan? Absolutely. Yeah.
I think so. I think, the idea that power from, say, dark forces could be turned and used for good. And I don't feel like there was that much of, there was some people will say, well, maybe the Shadow was an occult character. I would say probably the Phantom was an earlier occult character. Those are characters, but a lot of them laid ways in pure magic or in tribalistic, lore. And this was just straight out, just the devil gave you powers, and I don't think we saw too much of that before the Bronze Age. So a very exciting time. And of course you have, Legion of Monsters. So you even end up with some teamwork out of that. So to me, that's what the Bronze Age is the most of, is new teams and occult type characters. And you bring that together and you've got some great fun stories. As Roger said, fantasy, just barbarism. This is a lot of fun stuff, man. I really enjoy the Bronze Age. For me, reading, like when I'm reading comics, it's my favorite story era. Golden Age is a lot of it's anthology type stuff. So you don't pick up a book and read it cover to cover. It's just multiple like mini stories. And the Silver Age stories, I don't remember them being that bad when I was a kid. But when I go back and read it now, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Not only is it like bad writing and bad plots, but they're horrifically long. And, just tons and tons of dialogue that just circles around and goes nowhere. But fun art, good art. And I do enjoy Silver Age comics, but not the same. And when I get to the Bronze Age, I really, really start to enjoy the stories, and I'm enjoying longer runs, looking forward to the next issue. And just the Bronze Age is my favorite reading age. Like that's for me. So, what you got there, Jambo?
Well, the late Silver Age, early Bronze Age brought us a different kind of thing too. It brought us comic magazines.
Oh yeah,
and you could get away with a little bit more in a comic magazine. I mean, they had some of them even had nudity, and stuff. So
what are the rabbit ears for nudity for? I mean, I remember they did some definite shading.
A little bit more violent and stuff too. And there was a pretty wide variety. I mean, the monsters were there. And sometimes the hero type monsters, like you were talking about, they were there.
Lovely.
Doing their thing. My favorite, by the way. And
don't say.
Yeah, I mean, you could just get away with a little bit more. I guess they figured out a way to kind of get around the code a little bit with stuff like that. And do all kinds of weird things. This guy,
those magazine formats for the heavy inking lines and all that, just for
yeah,
some fantastic
there was
art.
some great art in some of that
wow.
stuff too.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, this zombie Peter Cushing. Come on.
Yeah, can't beat that.
That's not far from the real Peter Cushing, by the way.
Hey, we got Seawood in the house,
always
Jackson
kinda
Roy
like,
Kirk, and Two Brothers Comics has graced us with their presence. And I think I mentioned Comic Man Musings. He gave a nice little Super D chat earlier. He got his Wonder Woman fix. So we appreciate you. Thank you. Go on.
And we had some movie adaptations, you know, Planet of the Apes. I mean, that was really big during that time, the early 70s. I mean, I was a fanatic at the time, watching all those movies. I thought they were great.
Sci-fi on the big screen was really heating up.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, that was really awesome. And in the day, I mean, the special effects and everything, they seemed great. And I mean, you still had heroes doing magazines and stuff, getting magazines. So just a lot of great stuff in the magazine format that wasn't there before. I'm not sure really when the first one started being published. Roger, do you know that? Comic
magazines?
Magazines, yeah.
I'm not sure. I know that
September 1972.
Skywald.
Well,
I know that
Skywald was
and,
1969, so.
Oh yeah.
69, right. So there were some like in the late 60s, you know, Skywald, and like they had Nightmare and Scream, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, so we're talking, you know, pretty close to the Bronze Age.
Yeah. So it was either, like I said, late Silver, early Bronze Age. So, I mean, just a lot of great stuff, a lot of great art too in those books, and I love them now. I usually, that's one of the first things I run to when I go into a shop is start digging through their magazines and their magazine rack. So you can find all kinds of, and truth be told, the prices haven't jumped really crazy on them yet either. So
not until this show's aired. Thanks a lot.
We're here to help.
And I bet, Jambo, that there were a lot less printed than the comics. They were more expensive and they weren't accessible.
Yeah,
so,
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'd get the magazines before somebody gets wise to them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like them.
And Eerie were earlier, but those were kind of like a little bit of a different genre. I do believe they were, you know, horror, like one-off,
and they were more true magazines too, as opposed to more comic oriented.
Like we had men's magazines even, but you know, around then as well. But I consider those kind of a different genre than what I would call comic magazines.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right.
Let's see. Roger, what do you got for the what are we up to? Modern?
Copper,
I guess.
Copper,
I have trouble with copper. Yeah. I don't really see copper as an age. It's
still modern to me.
Well,
yeah, to me it's just modern.
Well, okay, I don't consider it modern. To me, modern is 21st century and up. You know, I'll tell you my opinion here. You know, you can tell me what it is.
All
but
right.
In the copper age, first of all, you had the direct market now really starting to dominate comic books. So you had a lot of the independent publishers starting to crop up. You know, obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Justice Machine. You know, all those kind of comics which weren't really viable in the newsstand because you had to sell, you know, much more. But now when we're talking about ordering a specific number and then you can, you know, in advance, then that made that possible, amongst other reasons. So I think that the Copper Age had that distinction, right? To me, that direct market cropped up a lot of different more publishers, a lot of more niche and independent stuff, because it was possible now versus like, otherwise you would have to have a much wider audience, but now you can have a much more targeted audience because the comic shops were also much more prevalent, right? In Marvel, you started to have now a lot of events comics, right? You had the miniseries, and then you had the crossover series. Secret Wars 2. Secret Wars 2 is probably the first major crossover series, which it went into almost every title, back then, even though the tie-ins were sometimes just next to nothing. Really. I mean, sometimes he would pop in, the Beyond would pop in, view what's going on, and pop back out.
I have to say, so far you're not making a very good case for the Copper Age.
Well, I'm not saying it was a great age. I'm just saying it was distinctive. Okay. So that's just the Secret Wars 2 part. Here's the DC. They also sort of started to do those big events, right? Like 0 Hour, like Crisis, Genesis, Legends, all those kinds of different crossovers where you would bring in, a huge amount of characters to focus on one foe or one event, one catastrophe, so that didn't really happen too much before. You had in the Bronze Age, you had crossovers, but generally they weren't to the extent that this was, especially not its own title, right? And here you had even card companies, baseball card companies, and all that throw their hat in the ring because, again, you had the direct market available. And, and even Jack Kirby went in and did a lot of titles here for Topps. And then, of course, you have the gimmicks, right? I guess technically,
the old gimmick cover
was the first variant cover, and that was in 85, I think, so, or 86. So now, after that, things exploded. Now you have die cut covers, you have lenticular covers, you have foil covers, you have embossed covers, et cetera, which led to a lot of problems with the industry. So that there's a lot more meat on the bone. I'm leaving, but to me, the Copper Age, these are sort of like the things that sort of stuck out in my mind that distinguished them from the Bronze Age and from modern age to me.
There's only been one embossed cover that I've ever thought was worthy of being embossed. Here we go. Where's it at? It's like Comic
Sure you have it.
There it is.
It's like Comic Wars.
That's the only embossed cover that's ever been worthy of being embossed. And I've got Gargoyles 1 that's embossed, but I don't need to see a Gargoyle's nipples coming at me. But that you can see the detail if you follow the whip. The detail in the whip, you can see it. I'll use the glare to accentuate the detail in the whip. You see that, Roger? Jambo? You seen that?
Yeah, I see
that.
I sure do. Yeah.
It's embossed. That's good stuff. There you go. So you're saying that's Copper Age? It says 93, I guess so.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I got to tell you that the greatest stories ever told were Copper. Look, I tell you what, Brett Bottomley's really making a play to be on this show someday because he wants it real bad. He wants to argue about everything. Look, Jacob, he's loving it. All right, so Wizard half issues, man. Wizard magazine, maybe that's what makes the Copper Age. Dark Knight's Returns. There's a lot of good stuff.
The fanzines, again, the direct market.
Yes.
Yeah, the direct market.
But some of the worst stories ever told since the Silver Age also appear in the Copper Age. So, man, I tell you, you guys, just talking about how difficult it is to pin down the Copper Age. We have everything from starting at the 80s to 0 Hour on the DC to 84 to 93. Let's see what else we have. Definitely 80s into early 90s. Another bid for 85. So it's just totally. That's why the Copper Age is tough for me because it really seems difficult to nail down. Hey, everyone. Can't stay, but crazy excited to see you guys in 2 weeks at Fantasticon. I'm stocking up the Comic Room bar. Well, pour me a double because Roger won't have one.
I'll drink
All right,
sodas.
sounds
and
good.
stuff,
Can't wait to see it. Yeah. Z Vertigo stories as well as in the 80s. Yeah, that's true. Which Vertigo, didn't they just end recently?
They've ended and started a few times already.
I think they're over. Yeah, good stuff. So Copper Age for me, I don't know. I guess it is miniseries, but I don't feel like it felt any different than Bronze. It's just the Bronze keeps going. So I'll take a pass on Copper Age. To me, I know it exists, but it's not different enough from the Bronze Age and the 90s stuff. If that's not modern, I don't know what is. Like, to me, that truly is modern, so once you get to Spawn 1, I don't see how you're calling that Copper or Bronze. That's modern now, to me. So,
well, I mean, it's not every comic fits neatly into that age. There are exceptions to every age, of course. But I'm talking generally in my experience, like Jambo just said, I think now the emphasis was more on the art and the actual cover and the distribution of the comic rather than the story. The story was not as important as it was at the Bronze Age. Not the Bronze Age. I think they started the Marvel way. They started to work out the plot, and then the artist would fill in, what his interpretation was. Now we're talking about, hey, we need something. We need big guns. We need big splashes. We need, impact. And that was not really the gist of the Bronze Age. It was more the story driven, and the Copper Age, we're starting to get more into the art driven comics.
So there was just more gimmicks they were coming up with to sell more comics, I think. I mean, and some of them were pretty good. I got to give it to them. I mean, this one here, they just recolored it several times, and it was the same book. And I don't know how many of those they sold, but they sold a lot of them, right?
And they issued a signed version too, right?
Yes,
Sign with the stamp on the back.
Mm-hmm. There's a gold version, a green version, and the signed version, and bagged, unbagged, and they were doing it, man. They were making a lot of money at it and stuff, and I think that was like the name of the game for them for a while. And I didn't really much enjoy it. I mean, the stories kind of sucked in my opinion, but I mean, there was some catchy covers that got your attention. Let me do something here, guys, real quick.
That's the first glow in the dark cover, isn't it?
Is it working?
Nah, the screen's showing.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought we'd get the first glow in the dark.
First glow in the dark cover.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so they had all that stuff going, even glow in the dark. And I mean, things were getting so popular. They even came out with a new price guide, and just it was booming. There's no doubt about it. And this guy right here, McFarlane, was cleaning up.
Yeah, leading the charge.
Yeah, and how many versions of this cover?
Superstar Artists era too.
Yes. I mean, it was centered around the artists more than the writers, and unfortunately, you need both of them to make a good book.
Hey, those early X-Men books, I think, are well written. I enjoyed them.
They're not bad. They're really not bad. They're some of the better ones of that time period, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I still like the Bronze Age much better.
Yeah, I think I have. I don't know. Maybe you think it's just nostalgia? Sure. You think we just get stuck in the books that we read as kids, and then it's hard to move past that?
Probably.
I tell you what else helps.
I'm going to say yes.
I tell you what else helps, and that's reading the advertisements. Like when I read the advertisements of Bronze Age, and I guess in this case Copper or early modern, then I get really stuck in the nostalgia of those products even. So nothing goes wasted in a Bronze Age book. Whereas like in a modern book, a true modern, like a current book, then the advertisements are just an annoyance. I'm just skipping through that. I have nothing to do with that, Right. And they don't have letter pages and things like that as often as they used to.
Right.
So there's not even any additional, complementary content in the books.
But then again, is that an
probably
age thing? I mean, are we
I don't
just
know.
enjoying those ads because they're, like all the neat gag gifts and stuff like that, X-ray glasses and stuff like that from back in the day? Or is there
Well,
some kid out there now looking at the skateboard or something on the back and thinking, wow, that's really cool?
Maybe, but nothing was greater than trying to convince me to be a salesman so I could earn a jet ski. I really wanted that jet ski. Grew up on the 15th floor of an apartment building in the Bronx, and I really wanted a jet ski. There's nothing I could do with it.
Sweet freedom.
I wanted it so bad. I was ready to sell magic beans or whatever the heck they were going to have me hawk. I was looking forward to it. Anyway. All right, looks like you're moving on to modern. So let's get Roger in with his modern take.
Well, I don't really have too many modern comics, but I'll just tell you this. I mean, because I haven't read moderns enough to get a cogent opinion about them. But to me, it seems like now, past the 2000s or so, mid 2000s, that comics have become very commodity like. So unlike when I was, and this may be, like you said, a man of a certain age, right? So it may be based on that. But to me, it seems like people are buying comics and very few talk about the stories in the comics and how good the comic is inherently. It's, these are comics you need to pick up because they're going to be hot, right? So, and that's been going on for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember any of that. Like when Superman, the movie came out, I don't remember any let's pick up this Superman comic. When Grodd came up in Superman 2, I don't remember anybody at the shop saying, hey, you got to pick up Action Comics, wherever it is that he appeared in, Now it seems like they're looking sort of past the comics, and the comic is sort of, the commodity behind what it could get you. That's not everybody, of course. That's not everybody. I'm just saying it seems like a lot of the videos I'm seeing on YouTube have that aspect of it, trying to get in on the ground floor, trying to speculate what will happen in the future about certain comics rather than, this is a solid story, solid art. This is what a comic, that you may consider reading if you like that, So
well, here's all that I'll say.
That's where I'm seeing.
All I'll say to that real quick, because I don't want to, nobody unsub this channel based on what Roger just said, unless you really want to. But here's, and I'll take up for Brett a little bit. So here's what's going on with those. First of all, comic speculation is overrepresented on Instagram and YouTube and other social media platforms. When you go to an actual comic shop that's stocking modern current books, the majority of people you find in the shop, at least in my experience, are readers. They're reading the comics, they're collecting a run, and they have very little to do with any kind of speculation or any kind of, value to the books or anything like that. Most of them are comic readers in the traditional sense. Now, they're not children. That has certainly changed. They are young adults or older adults, but they're not children. So that has changed. But other than that, I see tons of people reading and getting into the stories. And if you hang around the shop long enough, they're talking about it. And then you'll see that one guy walk in who's like racing to the rack to try and snag books off there. And everybody knows that that's one of the speculator guys. And they're just trying to get their books before that goofball gets there and steals them all, buys them all up for himself. And that only happens, once a week. There's one book that everybody runs that all those guys in the neighborhood are running after. And everyone else is just, they're reading. And I think that as far as reading goes, there's some books that have never been read and will never be read, like Spawn. Like I can't find anybody reading Spawn. I see people collect Spawn. I can't find anybody reading Spawn. But people are still reading Batman stories. It seems is still very popular. So it's not just the independents. A lot of DC stories still get read. A lot of Marvel stories still get read. A lot of the crossovers are still very popular. So there's still a lot of reading and enjoying of the multiple types of content that comics provide going on. But on YouTube and other social media platforms, the speculators are far more overrepresented than they are in the wild, in the actual shops.
Right.
That's my opinion of it.
I think you're right, Bob. Yeah, there is
Yeah.
a lot of that. I mean, the people that are still reading the books,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's usually, like you said, some younger guys and stuff. And this is their age of comics, and they're reading them, but they're also buying like multiple copies of one book. And there again, it's a promo thing they're doing to sell more comics and stuff, because they have like 10 covers of one comic. And so they get you to buy more that way. But
and again, I'm not judging, and to answer Brett, I'm not judging the quality of the comics, and I can't do that because I don't have enough knowledge about modern comics to make a distinction whether they're better written and art. I'm not talking about that aspect of them, right? I'm talking about, like, for example, I saw Russ, the Super Russ 9000, some months back, trying to get he was trying to collect a certain, I think, Captain Marvel, and he went to various shops, and because there was spec on the comic, it was gone. He couldn't find a copy. I think Lady Fantastic had to send him a copy or something. So, to me, if you have a pull list at a place, right, and because you're a reader or you're a follower of that title, and all of a sudden it disappears because there's speculation on it, then that makes that comic not really for the reading audience. Again, that I'm talking about one specific. This is anecdotal stuff here. I'm talking about not what you're talking about, Bob. All right. So to me, that's just a different element that's infused into the comic industry that wasn't there when I was collecting in the 70s and 90s. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It really has changed. I mean, there's no doubt. The comic shop doesn't look anything like it did when I was a kid. Nothing. Like they don't represent each other in any way whatsoever. They're completely alien to each other. It's a different feel for sure, but it's interesting. It's still kind of fun to go in. I don't buy a lot from comic shops anymore. Not modern. I still do back bin diving and stuff like that. I buy a lot of modern at the shop. I order a lot of modern books because the price is just too prohibitive for me. Like I don't like walking into a modern shop and paying $5 a book, picking up 3 or 4 books and then like, oh man, that was $20. Now what? I don't care for that. So a lot of the modern books that I think I'm going to read, I'll go ahead and pre-order. So I get, 30-35% off. And that makes it more palatable to get a modern book. I hate paying full price for modern books. It's very difficult for me. So, and it has a new added requirement. I mean, when I was a kid, I would buy a book, even if the cover didn't grab me, because I knew I had bought the issue before and I know where the story's going and I want to catch the rest of it, Right. So the cover didn't matter. I mean, in some cases, if I was going to jump on a title, the cover may get me. But, once you get a little older, you can't trust that either, unless it's like an annual or a one shot or something. So, but the new books, it has to be a piece of art on the cover for $5 a piece. And I'm hoping it has a good story. That's a lot to ask of a random comic book off the shelf that I'm not already following, that's a tough sell for me.
And to me, I'm a old guy. I'm a fossil, so a lot of the new stories just don't get me. I haven't tried that many, so I can't really, say everything, but, there's not very much writing out there that really gets my attention, and the artwork does not get my attention on the inside of the books either. But, I've fell prey to covers just like everybody else. I mean, when you go into a shop and you see something really cool, there
it is.
Yeah. You were like, hey, that's a cool cover, but yeah, the insides are terrible. But
it looks like she's wearing fruit roll-ups.
It does, don't it?
It does. You think that's strawberry?
Strawberry, definitely not cherry. Probably strawberry.
Oh, you rascal! Oh,
but
we're not all bashing moderns. I pick up a ton of modern books relatively, or to me, I pick up a lot of modern books. So, and I have favorite artists, and really, maybe the modern era is categorized heavily by the focus on cover art and cover artists.
Right.
You know, there wasn't. I don't recall a lot of distinct. You know, actually, in the golden age, you probably had more as far as distinct cover artists versus interior artists. There was a lot of that in the golden age because they're more anthology books. So, you know, cover art would go to a studio.
I agree.
You know, and then that kind of died in the silver age, where a lot of basically cover art and interior art was done largely by the same people, or at least the same group of people. And then
it was in-house mostly.
Yeah, in-house, right. And now there seems to be a lot of, you know, farming out or you know, doling out of cover art duties to independent artists who are just getting paid. They're working for every studio, you know, they're working for every publisher, and it's just whoever gives them the most money, then they'll do that. Or if there's something that interests them. I'm not putting them down by saying they're money hungry or anything like that. I'm just saying that they're work for hire.
Right. And hired guns. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's kind of how it was back in the golden age. Too. There was several artists who did mostly covers.
Yep.
So a lot of the independent smaller publishers, you know, they went to, like you said, like a shop, you know, and they said, hey, we need covers for this, that. That's why a lot of the covers don't necessarily relate exactly to what's in the golden age comic, because they were giving sketchy instructions and just interpret it.
Oh, wait. Was that a pun, Roger? Sketchy instructions for a cover art?
I'm not that clever. I'm not that clever. You know me.
Oh, that was a good one. I like it. Well done, sir.
You have like the Tiger shop, you know, that they would do for probably 10, 20 publishers, because they had to stay in business. So they couldn't just do one. So they had to have steady work. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Well, have we gone through all the ages?
I
feel like it.
Think we're at modern. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All the ones I know about.
Right.
I will say there is one modern book that I've been buying pretty regularly and reading. Yes.
Vampirella?
Vampirus Carmilla, which is almost exactly like the old Warren Vampirella. So,
do you have one to show us?
I should, but it's buried under a bunch of stuff. But if you can imagine the old,
is it under your mattress? Do you need
I'm not saying on the grounds that might incriminate me.
Is it under the pillow? No.
Let me see. Oh, yes, I do have one.
Oh,
here we go.
Ta-da!
And see, they're no
even incorporating old artists.
Looks like Frazetta on the cover.
That's the Frazetta, yeah. And when you open it up, I mean, I'll pop this one open. It's exactly like a old Warren magazine, even down to the ads and stuff inside. So,
didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
that's a throwback there, Jambo.
I mean, so yeah, you got the. Oops, well, that's cool. It's all right. I mean, it's all black and white and stuff, just like the old Warren books. But then when you get to the back, they have like more ads and stuff of house ads, and there's some Rosetta stuff from the museum.
Nice.
And even the covers and stuff on the back page.
That's
so
neat.
Pretty cool. Yeah, and I've been picking these up. They're pretty awesome. So that is the one modern book I've been buying. But it's kind of like a throwback book, so.
Yeah,
and it's
I wouldn't consider that, like most modern, yeah.
Yeah.
I still buy James Bond books, and so I have a few moderns that I pick up. I still buy Cave Woman
Right.
books.
Look at that. Yeah, cover gallery. That's cool. That's cool, Jambo. That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that reminds me of the old Skywall.
Yeah.
What? Already? It's already time to go?
Yeah, we've pitched another one. There you go.
Man, I'm having so much fun.
Roger, you're about to take a nice long car ride with your old buddy Bub. We need to save some magic for that trip.
Oh man, I got enough for a million car rides, Bub. Don't you worry.
Watch
gonna
when
be
he
good.
stops for gas, Roger. Don't let him get the pickled eggs.
No. Listen, we're gonna have strict rules in that car. Okay, strict rules.
Yeah, but they'll be my rules.
Well, I didn't say they were gonna be
No,
mine.
no.
I just said they were gonna be strict.
Gonna be a party.
I'm sure I'm gonna have like cologne bottles and antiperspirant and I don't know, pepper spray. I don't know what you're gonna want me to put in there.
Oh yeah, you know it. Oh goodness gracious! All right, well we've done it again, folks. You spent wisely. We'll say you have wisely spent another hour plus with the No Faces Comic Chat crew. We want to thank DS for fighting the good fight out there and making us lots of money. And maybe he'll bring some of that coin to the No Faces Comic Chat budget.
What does DS do with all the change he picks up? He has no pockets.
That you might not want to know the answer to that one, Jambo.
Oh, yeah, that's no good.
That's one of those questions we don't ask, Jambo. It's like we just don't want to know. Yeah,
I'll be more concerned if he rolls it first. I tell you that. Good grief. Oh gosh. All right. Yeah, so we're missing DS, but hopefully we'll catch him back here next week. Sorry for the break in content. I know it's been about 3 weeks since we had an episode. I've been the traveling man, and I'll be the traveling man again soon. So we'll try and have an episode next week, and then the week after that, probably not. Or at least if we do, poor old Roger won't be there. He'll be on the road, won't he? Be headed home 2 weeks from today, won't you?
Yeah, I'll probably be here, but I'll probably be pretty exhausted. So yeah, I probably won't be part. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just put a picture. I'll put up random pictures of him on the screen from our road trip.
Okay,
I figure he'll take a nap somewhere around Southern Ohio, and I'll get a lot of pictures of him in precarious situations. That sounds like a plan. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. Kenneth Bird's here, so it's time to go. Thanks for being here. We will catch you next time in No Faces Comic Chat. Thanks again, Jambo, our special guest, for being here tonight. And Jambo, what have you got coming up on the on your fine channel or any of the channels in which you'll be gracing?
I will be on Graphic Man's channel. Micah has a fantastic show on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock called The Four Color Fossils. And it's old guys showing old comics and just chatting. It's a lot of fun. So check it out.
Nice. We like it. Sounds good to me. Roger, what do you got coming up?
I'll probably pop into the fossils as well if Micah will have me for a section or two. Really love the guys there. What collections they have. I'm just so jealous of those guys. Anyway, so I'll probably see you there, Jambo. And on Thursday, I plan on announcing my Road to 1500 giveaway. So that's a chance you might want to check out.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. All right.
What you got coming up, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. I got some more videos filmed and some to film. It's another vinyl haul. I'm going to start a board game series and go over some of my board game collections. Nice. So I know people are really excited about that one. Ooh. So actually that was kind of born just today. So on Instagram, I posted my set now remarried together set of the X-Men 11 Pressman edition and the X-Men Red Alert game. And a bunch of people sent me stuff on Instagram, private messages on Instagram asking me if I had ever showed everything off on that game, because it's pretty neat and it's got a bunch of figurines and things inside as game pieces. And I said, I haven't, but I will. And I've got a lot of comic related and other such. I have quite a large Monopoly collection and stuff like that. So maybe it's time to dust off some of that and show that off to the community and see if people like it. So we're going to start some series of that. So a lot of things in the works, a lot of things going on over at BUB'S World, and we're going to have the surprisingly pleasant smelling Metarog gracing the cave. So we're going to have to do something. Maybe we'll dust some of our shelves for that occasion. So maybe.
Catch that, Roger? Surprisingly great smelling. Right?
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much. Jambo, what do you want to tell the fine folks at home?
I want to tell everybody to be sure and come back next week. And as Linda Carter says, subscribe.
Ooh, I love it. Roger, you're up.
Yeah, I want to tell everybody to wear any perspirant. Be blessed, be back, and be kind to each other.
Yes. I'm going to tell everyone to read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. We'll catch you next week on the No Faces Comic Chat. Good night, everyone.